Hi, everybody. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Romy. This is our weekly Sizzle, and it's our weekly kind of family gathering time. This is my favorite time of the week where I get to see everybody and just kind of hear what's going on in your lives and just be able to connect as face-to-face as we can. So I'd like to start off tonight with some shares. What's your favorite thing that happened in this last week? Doesn't have to be business, it can be anything. What's your favorite thing that happened? Something that touched you.
Can I go,
Yes, ma'am.
Romy?
Yes.
My daughter got married on Saturday night, and it was the best wedding I've ever seen. And
Oh.
I have seen and been a part of, 500 in my lifetime because I played for all kinds of weddings for many, many years. But that,
Awesome.
something very special.
Very cool. I was actually going to reach out and ask you how it went and how you were feeling. That's great to hear.
Yeah.
Sweet. Thank you. Anybody else?
Hi, Romy.
Hi.
I went and had a meeting with the principal of the school today. I know. And it was very good, and all I have to do is find out the cost breakdown for every classroom they have in the elementary school. And the elementary is right across the street from me. So it's really neat. It was cool.
That's very cool. Sweet.
Yeah.
Way to go.
Thanks.
Okay, one more.
I have a girlfriend who's a nurse. I have a quilting friend of mine who's a nurse that I've been wanting to get to do oils, and she's always been kind of, standoffish about it. And today she called me and said that her chiropractor told her to use lavender and oregano for an ingrown toenail. And she goes, "Do I have that?" And I said, "Well, yes, I do." I think that sounds kind of weird for an ingrown toenail, but I'm going to do a little looking myself.
Cool.
So yay, I'm bringing her some oils. Yeah.
Very cool. Great job. That's good. Okay, so tonight we get to hear from Melisa. So Melisa is actually number 2 that joined the team. So it was Lateran and then Melisa. So she has been with us for a very long time. And I'm so excited to have her with us and super proud of the growth, and I don't even know how to say how the growth that you have displayed and the intention that you have set to just move forward and to conquer the demons that have come into play in your life throughout this time. And demons is just a word, just so you know. It's not a literal sense for me that I refer to. But for me, it's amazing for me to be able to watch people as they start this journey and be able to watch the growth as they go. And so it's not just a they thing, it's a us thing. So it's not, I have gone through the same growing pains and trying to figure out, how to do life and business and all of that. And watching you, Melisa, has been incredible. And I couldn't be more proud of where you're at today, considering where you started, for sure. I couldn't be more proud of you and more grateful to have you still with us and to be on this team and to be in our family. So Melisa has some amazing stuff. She is very gifted in massage and healing and the different modalities that we use. She is extremely gifted in that way. So I'm super excited to have you share what you have. So I'll let you take it away.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. But thank you for the beautiful introduction. Like you said, I was number 2 when we started. When Romy asked me to do this call, I was kind of like, she's like, well, what are you passionate about? Well, that's kind of a loaded question, because I'm passionate about people, and I'm passionate about animals, and I'm passionate about giving to others. Can you hear me now?
You're pretty light.
How about, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just very passionate about people. So for me to pick one thing to be passionate about would be unfair. When I started this journey, I worked in a restaurant. I was actually LaTaryn's boss. And my job consisted of running a service as a service manager. I had tons of employees. I was a bar manager and an assistant kitchen manager. So when the kitchen manager was gone, or if he didn't cut enough meat, that's what I was doing. So it was a very high stressful job, and past the hourly or salary wage that they paid me, I was probably working 80 hours a week, because my phone was always going off. But anyways, I became involved with doTERRA because I like to make soaps and stuff, and I wanted the best thing for my soaps. I went to LaTaryn's house after Natalie had bugged me for months and months, and I ignored her. But I went to Natalie's because I'm impatient, and went over to LaTaryn's, smelled the oil, signed up. Because I've been using oils for a really long time, since I was like 23, and I'm 44 now. So this was before doTERRA. So I've used a lot of different essential oils over the years, but they were really the best. But using them for me emotionally wasn't like I was using them, but I wasn't using them. Like I was kind of doing it, but not kind of doing it. So a year after I had been in doTERRA, I had a mental breakdown, and Romy and LaTaryn and our doTERRA community saved me. It was a hard walk. They put me on 9 medications when I was in the hospital, and then they just weren't working for me. I wasn't on them very long, but they just were not working for me. So I set out on a journey to figure out how to to help. I'm trying to be compliant here, because it's really hard for me to be compliant because mood disorders are very pertinent in a lot of people, especially ones that have mania and flip-flops of emotions. So I started using my oils more, but I still wasn't fully there. Like I was using DDR Prime finally came out, and that was a blessing. But I was using a lot of frankincense and black pepper, and using the Lifelong Vitality Pack, because people with emotional disorders they need the omega-3s, they need the DHA, because something just doesn't fire right within the synapses of the brain. So I needed that chemical response in my brain so it would work and function properly. And the emotion oils, they always change for me, because it might be something different. But I love the oils so much because they were helping me emotionally, that I wanted people to feel that effect, and I wanted to do it legally. So I went into massage therapy school. Like, it was totally a life change. And so since then, I became certified in equine. So I massage horses, I rehab horses. A lot of the horses that I work with have emotional issues. They've been abused, or they've been in a kill pen, because they kind of mirror me in some ways. There's a struggle, so you have to figure out what that struggle is and try and rechange that program in the brain. And essential oils and massage have such a powerful way of helping people do that. Like if you talk about like aroma touch and symphony of the cells, it's not just helping boost the immunity, but you're releasing emotions and trauma from the body that the body holds on to. It's kind of like a sore shoulder. I mean, what are you carrying a chip on your shoulder? What's the chip on your shoulder that you're carrying around? You have digestive issues. So how come you can't digest life? Pain in your hip. Well, how come you can't see the ability to walk forward? Or something in your back. It's kind of a get off my back, carrying around all that weight and carrying all that burden. So people carry that. So when you use the oils that are tied to emotion and massage, even if you change the oils out in Aroma Touch or Symphony of the Cells to something that helps with them emotionally, you're going to also help them to remove that blockage from the body. Also, it's it's like reprogramming your brain. I don't know how to explain it. It's like learning your triggers and picking an oil that um, like forgiveness in yourself and other people. That is like the biggest thing that you can learn to do mentally, especially forgiving yourself. So forgive is a very good oil, and thinking of like, I forgive you for doing this, but how do I explain it? I forgive you for this, but I don't forgive the situation. I don't want you back in my life, but I forgive you for my own peace, and I forgive myself for feeling that way. And you smell that oil as you're doing that, it actually helps change the thought process. So when you feel like you are stuck in hate and can't forgive, you smell that oil and that sensation and the emotion comes back.
I think we lost her.
Yep.
Or
Oh, there we go.
I'm feeling good or secure. I'm feeling safe and secure. Just because like our root chakra and the balance oil, the root chakra is like our foundation. It's our fight or flight. It's our comfort zone. It's so when you're reprogramming and feeling uncomfortable, unstable, smelling balance or console or an oil that's rooty, like patchouli or vetiver, it helps you feel rooted and grounded and thinking, I am safe, I am home, I'm calm. And smelling that oil will help you every time that you don't feel that way. You smell that oil, and it's going to help you come back to feeling grounded and safe and connected. People with mood disorders sometimes don't know how to flip it back. It goes into, it's kind of like a fight or flight. You get really angry or you become very, very sad, and then you get past the point that you can't come back. So learning to use the oils and smell them and change the thought process can help you from going past the the breaking point, going into the mania, going above and then below. So always use your oils, but you always want to make sure that you're using your nutrition on top of that. So your lifelong vitality pack. If you're not an eater, use the trim shake. Just get your nutrition. If you were listening to Cresta today, how important gut health and all of that is a big thing for people with mood disorders. When I first started looking into me, that for me, that was like the number one thing I was lacking, because working in a restaurant, I didn't get to eat very often. I was lucky if I got to eat once a day, and I worked 8-10 hour shifts. And I'd get like a cup of soup and a loaf of bread. And that's what I ate for lunch. And so the nutrition was depleted, but you need those omegas, you need the vitamins, you need that folate. B12 is a big important thing with mood disorders. I don't know if many of you have heard of MTHFR gene mutation, but like I can't take folic acid. Even when I was pregnant, I couldn't take folic acid. It made me crazy. But I can have folate because MTHFR changes the synapses. It's like methylation. It's just with the synapses of the brain. So doTERRA did the best thing by putting folate in the LLV to help synapses in the brain. So that is one key thing. DDR prime, it was just a blessing when it came out. It just helped me focus a little better. It just changed and added a little bit more to the piece along with the black pepper and frankincense. Like I said, the emotional oils change, but nutrition was a big thing. PD assist, supporting gut health, because a lot of times with people with mood disorders, they don't have the ability to walk through life. They've given up on themselves. So they're going to have a lot of stomach and digestive issues. So if you can help clear out that emotion and support their gut health, they're going to feel better. It's the weirdest thing, but you just start to feel better. I'm just thinking here because I have a lot I want to share with you, and what do I share? So gut health, sleep is another really big one for people with mood disorders. So eating the right foods, sleep is next. So when the Serenity Sleep Complex came out, that was like the best thing that could have ever happened to me, because I could put vetiver and balance and diffuse, but there was still something missing for me that I couldn't sleep. I was on some stuff that was pretty heavy to make you sleep. I'd wake up in the morning and shake and have tremors. Like I couldn't even drive a car because of the stuff that they had given me. Well, when that Serenity Sleep came out, that pretty much was equivalent to what I was taking to help me sleep through the doctors. Like that was a big thing. If I don't sleep, my PTSD, my mood disorders, the multiple ones that I have a really, really hard time. Like if one isn't managed, none of them are managed. So I have to manage all of them, and sleep is a key thing. I go to bed at a certain time. I get up at a certain time every day. It doesn't matter if it's the weekend. I go to bed at the same time I get up. I mean, there are rare occasions that I go out and stay up a little later, but my sleep is very structured so that I make sure that I get enough. I have to sleep like 8 to 10 hours a day. If I miss that, then the rest of the day will go south. So sleeping. People with my condition actually cannot work a swing shift. They can't work graveyards. It's just, they really can't work a normal 9 to 5 job. It's just because of the stress and the emotion that comes with it. A multi-level marketing job is like the perfect thing for somebody that has a mood disorder. Even the doctor was really surprised when I went and saw her last week. She's like, most people like you are supposed to be on medications, and I'm surprised you're not. And so I think she's still trying to pick me apart and figure me out. But she even said people with my type of mania and issues can't work a normal job. They had actually deemed me mentally disabled, and I didn't like that term. So, I had doTERRA in my hand, and I ran with it. So, stress. So the sleep, because of sleep having to be that main thing, a lot of jobs don't work for me. And I know many other people like me can't really do the same. It's harder for them. Like their attitude changes. It's just a different thing. The next thing is exercise, doing some meditation, yoga, qigong. Qigong is my favorite. It's an older version of Tai Chi. It's one of the oldest um, forms of traditional Chinese medicine. And it's just slow movement and breathing. And so when you use your yoga collection, you use your emotions oils like balance, elevation, you use your emotions kit. All of those you can use while doing Tai Chi or yoga, doing meditation. Something that calms and relaxes, helps your breathing, just brings peace. So where Tai Chi and yoga are considered exercise, you're getting that exercise, but you're also getting the breathing techniques and the calming to reduce the stress of life, reduce the stress and the rapid thoughts and emotions that run through your brain. And then your massage. Massage is so important. Just to let go of the emotions, let go of the stress, just let it all leave your body so that you can be a whole person on the inside. I can't tell you how many thoughts race through my brain on a daily basis. Like literally when I go to sleep, I put my hand over my third eye so my brain shuts up because, or I can't stop. So I overthink things. Like it could be something very little and I'll think it over and over and over and over and over and over. It's kind of like a kid on a spectrum disorder. They get stuck on one thing and they keep going and they keep going. And sometimes you have a meltdown. So doing these things has really helped me to find that calmness inside, along with the oils and using them on a daily basis. They always go on my feet, over my heart. I'll stick some underneath my nose. They go on my wrist, wherever I can smell them the best, but also to keep me rooted to the earth. So some other things that I really like to do that have really helped me. I don't know if any of you have heard of write and burn. So when you have a negative thought process, you write down like, I am angry because of so and so. So you write this person a letter. You sit them in a chair, pretend that they're in a chair. You yell and you scream, you punch, you kick, you cry, you tell them off. You do whatever you feel that you need to get it out. And then you take it outside and you burn it and you pray and you say, I'm sorry for feeling this way. Forgive me. And then ask God for forgiveness and send it to your angels, whatever you believe, and let them deal with it. But then I like to go back and sit down and do a write and build. This is where I put good stuff back in. This is where I take an oil that I love. My favorite blend that Corrine gave me was the Balance Whisper and Wild Orange. And I love it. One of my favorites. But I will diffuse that or I'll put it on me as I write some positivity back into my life. And I keep that. But I also have another book that I call them my black and white. One is for negative thought. One is for positive. Sometimes if I just think real quick and I don't have to can't do a write and burn, if I think something bad about myself, I write it down and then I go to the white book and I write 5 positive things about myself. And then I reread the positive stuff while sniffing an oil that I like. So when I'm feeling that negative emotion again, I go and smell that oil and read those words. I don't have to look at my white book anymore. I can smell that oil and I can say, I am this, I am this, I am this, I am this. That is kind of the biggest thing that comes with bipolar disorder. But that's kind of what comes with rechanging the brain, with helping think and put positive back in. But as far as my emotional journey, that has been kind of it. The massaging horses is kind of my equine therapy. So if you can find somebody that does equine therapy, and use the oils, that's another good outlet. It's a good way to let go. Horses, you cannot have any garbage carrying around to be around them. So you have to kind of let it go. So going and petting and doing various programs. Some of them let you ride the horses while somebody leaves. Sometimes you just brush. They do different things. So equine therapy is a very good thing, which I've utilized myself because I have horses here. But I've also gone to a friend that does equine therapy to help me in that way also. So there's a lot of little different things you could do. It's just about changing the brain, thinking food, and all of the different steps as far as taking care of you. So that is a lot of my emotional journey and trying to find peace within myself. But I also fell in love with energy. I believe that everybody on this planet is connected. We all have, kind of like they say, we all bleed the same color, red. But most of you have heard of like chakras and stuff and auras. But if you look at different things, we are all the same. We are all one. We are all connected. And I think when people kind of see that, it brings emotional peace. I don't know how to explain it, but it just brings emotional peace. If you ever had any questions about energy work, that is my key. A lot of people think it's really funny because I talk to dead people and animals. So there's a lot of different things about me. They're different, but there's a lot of different things about you. So you always want to make sure that you are number one, that you are uniquely you. It doesn't matter what traumas in your life that you have been through. Always remember that deep in your heart, you always remain kind and loving and generous and giving. And that you come forward and give the people around you hope. But your journey is your journey. Never take it as this is a horrible scar. It's actually a beautiful badge. It's what made you who you are today. And it doesn't matter, as long as you can change your thought process about yourself, it doesn't matter what anybody else says. You just remember that we're all unique and we are different, but yet we are still the same. We all have emotions. We all get sick. We all cry. We all have the same emotions. We just share them a little bit different. But your journey is your own. So always remember that when you're sharing with somebody, or if you're trying to help yourself more emotionally, it's you. Doesn't matter. It's you. And that you're kind, loving, and forgiving and caring. Because you could have chose a lot of different other journeys and you didn't. So that is my journey in a nutshell. I don't know what else to say. I know a lot of people were hoping that maybe that I would talk a little bit about horses. So I have a little bit. Horses are pretty amazing. So are dogs and cats. They give so much to us without asking for anything in return. And that's why I do a lot what I do, because I want to give back to something that's always helped me my whole life. But animals are really cool. Horses, and on an emotional level, you can use I use pretty much every oil that I have here with my animals. I mean, I don't know. I have like 25 cats running around here. Half of them come in and half of them go out. They're on the counter. They get on the table. They lay eye diffuser. I diffuse everything. Nobody has died. So just keep that in mind. I've washed my counters with Melaleuca deal, and they've gotten on the counter, and everybody is still fine. I've diffused Holiday Joy. They're not a big fan of that one, but they move away. But I diffuse everything with my cats. Horses, I use everything. I use the supplements. I use all the emotional oils to help them. They kind of work the same way we do as far as emotions. It's just figuring it out and helping them work through it. So picking an oil to let an animal smell helps them work through their issues too. And then I have my St. Bernards. I use oils with them all the time. I use the probiotics PB Assist with my dogs daily. I use the omega-3s daily. I mean, I have large breed dogs, so I want to support them as best as I can. But there's always time for me to talk more about animals. If you ever need help, just ask. But the oils that you have in your hand are pretty amazing. It doesn't matter how fast you're building or how fast you're growing. It's a gift that you have to help serve others. And just don't stop sharing. Even if you're not building as fast as everybody else, you're still sharing. You still grow. But there's always a purpose. And your purpose is always, for many of you I know that are on this call, it's about the people that you want to make a positive impact in their life. So just keep sharing. You never know what will happen. You could really save somebody's life. So I don't know what else you want. I don't have anything else, Romy.
That was great. Thank you. One of my takeaways from that is, well, I have a couple. To reiterate what you said about the basically, we as individuals, we are good and we're okay, and it's important to be okay with who we are. And the other thing that I was thinking when you were talking is the longevity that for the amount of time that you have been with us and the journey that you have gone through for your own personal healing is, I think it's important for all of us to know that sometimes we can share an oil and someone will have an instant experience and life will be good. And for others, when it comes to the emotional stuff, the depression and the bipolar and some of the really heavy duty physical problems that some of us have, everybody has their own individual time frame for healing. And it's important for us to know as we're trying to help people that if we share an oil with someone and they don't get that instant healing or result or whatever, it's okay. Because sometimes we as individuals, depending on what the situation is, it can take a very long time to find that perfect thing that will help us. For me, in the beginning, I found stuff that helped me right out of the gate. But the most important thing for me was that it wasn't all perfect. It didn't happen overnight, but I knew that I found something that was going to help me. So I was able to continue on that and find other products that were going to be the very best for me. And that's the way it was for Melisa, and that's the way it is for a lot of people. So I think it's very important to be patient and be willing to brainstorm and look for the very best protocol that the people that we're sharing with need. Sometimes it's just one oil, and sometimes it's a whole combination of oils, not to mention the gut health and the whole body education and wellness and all of that. It's just the journey. We all are on our own individual journey, and we all have different time frames for our journey when it comes to healing, when it comes to our business, when it comes to our life in general. We have our own individual timelines for that, and it's super important to be patient with ourselves when it comes to something like that, and to really understand that for the people that we are trying to help. Make sense?
I absolutely agree with that, because My oils change all the time. It's never the same thing every day. But if you can help somebody find a few oils to start experimenting and give them a job, give them some homework, learn how to breathe right. Learn, while you're smelling your oil. Here, let me show you how to write and burn. Let me show you how to journal. You know, let me show you these things because those will be little things that will be huge things for them later on. Not everything that I do will work for the same person with the same thing, but they might find value in something that I did do. They'll find value in the oils. They'll find value in the lifelong vitality pack. There is a lot of information online about brain function, about foods in the brain. Like, there are certain foods I cannot go without. Like, I just cannot. Like, protein is like a number one thing. And then I have to have that one slice of bread a day and I'm good. So a lot of people have different little things that actually could be a trigger for them. So if they learn how to do that and you show them, the different oils and just find them that little thing, that will be a huge thing for them, even if they continue to work with both Western and Eastern medicine. It's all a personal choice. Always remember that. But things will always be different. But yes, I do agree with that. Everybody's different, but you can't expect it to change overnight, especially with somebody with a severe mental and mood disorder. It's baby steps. I mean, it's taken me 6 years to be okay with myself, be okay with sharing my story, being okay to just get up and function every day. So it's just baby steps. I still have a long journey, but we all do. We all learn every day. But somebody's journey, their baby steps might take them a lot longer. But as long as they keep working to get there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
Can I add something?
Yes, ma'am.
So I just received this amazing devotional book from Sue. It's called Front Porch Devotionals, and I think I posted it a picture of the devotional yesterday, and it goes along with what we're talking about. So part of it, just to kind of wrap it up in a little bit of a nutshell, was you need to be okay with allowing yourself and giving yourself permission to rest. But that also goes along with you need to give yourself permission to forgive and accept the things, your flaws, basically. Because you can't get past your flaws unless you accept them, you deal with them, you process them, and then you move on. If you can't do those steps and the baby steps with all of that, and you can't help someone to learn how or to walk them through or talk them through those baby steps, then you yourself are going to struggle with moving forward in whatever you want to do. And you have to be okay with forgiveness. You have to allow yourself to forgive. And it's okay to forgive, forget, and move on.
sometimes people have a really hard time forgiving themselves.
Yep.
Forgiving yourself is probably the hardest thing. A really good book that I read when I first came out of the hospital was called Forgive for Good. It was a very, very good book. I still had trouble forgiving myself. And then my friend that's an energy healer gave me his book that he wrote. And it's about I'll have to find the name of it. But it teaches you and shows you how to walk through the steps of learning to forgive yourself. Some other really good books. I actually read Boyd Truman's mom's book before I even became part of doTERRA with Feelings Buried Alive, which is really kind of funny that we're all on this team because I read that book before any of this. But that's a great book. If you want to know what emotion are tied to like to different areas of the body, Louise Hay has a really good A and Z book. It will give you like the emotion that's tied to whatever condition, and then you can find the oil, and then you can read the information while you smell the oil. Dr. Bradley Nelson, I'm sure some of you guys have read the Emotions Code. If not, I know that there's a free download version of the Emotions Code online that you can get. The Body Code is a little more fun, but you have to take his program to get a hold of that information. But I have some other stuff that I can give you for that. So if you want something that's associated with the Body Code, I can send that. Dot and Eden has some really good tapping and different things with her energy medicine for women. It's a really good book. She actually has quite a few. It talks about energy more on chakras. She has a bunch of different little things, but she also involves tapping. Tapping is really good with essential oils and reprogramming the brain and changing the thought process. I guess one of my friends, she calls it closing the neural gap. So it's kind of like changing the thought process, but we're changing the neural gap. It's like taking a noodle strainer and pouring water through it. You're kind of covering up the holes so the water doesn't keep running through it. There's a lot of different books, a lot of different things that you can read. If you ever want a good one besides Girl Wash Your Face, those are some other ones before I came to that one. But yeah, forgiveness is a big thing. Learning to forgive and loving. Love and forgiveness is what will make this world go round. So I like your new book. I want it.
So one of the things that we talk about when we're sharing and just building our business and all of that is the authenticity and our story, and really stepping into that space of not being ashamed of our story. So for me, with the depression and all of that, I was very embarrassed by that. And it took me a really long time to step into that space to being okay with telling someone that I was depressed and I was suicidal. And in reality, as long as you keep those issues a secret, it keeps you in the darkness. And so it's super important to find someone that you feel safe with to be able to share your story with initially. But it's also really important to get to a space where you're comfortable with sharing that story with others, because as we move forward and we build our community and all of that, there are a lot of people that ask for help and support in how to help somebody that they love that has bipolar. And I have seen Melisa comment over and over and over again with different ideas of what people can use to be able to help their loved one. And so as we build our community and we are authentic and we are open with our story, that puts us in a position to be able to be a resource for someone. And it doesn't have to be a resource for business. It doesn't have to be a resource for building our team or any of that. It's about being a resource for the heart and being able to step into that space and be available to help people. And as we become more comfortable with sharing our story, whatever that story is, someone is going to resonate with our story. Guaranteed. It doesn't matter what your story is, there's someone out there that needs to hear it. And so it's super important to be able to get to that space where you feel comfortable in doing that. And the way that that Rock Stars is as a whole, we have come together, and I feel like we have created a community of trust and love and respect and authenticity, where if you don't know someone that has a story that can help the person that you are trying to help right now, reach out to someone and ask, because I guarantee there's someone on the team that will be able to give you that resource to be able to help the person that you love. And so that being said, I want to reiterate, I can never say this enough about how I appreciate how all of you have come together, and you are the people that are willing and want to help anybody, no matter who they are. And I'm so proud to be part of what you guys are doing in the way that you're doing it, with that heart mindset, and being able to help someone no matter what it is that they need. So you guys are awesome in what you do with that. It's awesome to know that we can step into this space and share our feelings and what's going on in our life, and know that we are safe. There's no judgment. We will be loved no matter what. And that's because of who you guys are and how you have come together and done that. So I appreciate you sharing your story, Melisa, and I appreciate you sharing the process in your healing journey, because I've seen what has happened and your growth, and I saw the before and I'm seeing the after. And yeah, it may have taken 6 years to get to where you are today, but oh my gosh, look at where you are today. Holy smokes, you are awesome.
I just have to say thank you to both you and LaTaryn and everybody, because without you, I wouldn't be here. And you know that. But it's been an incredible journey. And I am just so grateful for everybody and everybody on this team. I may not get to talk to everybody, but I know everybody has a journey and has a story. And I love the people that you are and where you find yourself right now. You're just all very, very beautiful people. So I do care about you, whether we talk or not. It's just part of who I am. But thank you, Romy, for allowing me to do this. I know I kind of get on a little tangent because I get really nervous still, but there's just a lot of different things you can do. So just if you ever have any questions, or if you have questions tonight, ask them. Because that's, somewhere in my journey, it hopefully will help somebody that you come across that might try and end their life. Like, I don't ever want anybody ever, ever, ever to feel the way I did that day. And that's not the first time I tried it. That was the one that I was almost successful. But I would never, ever want anybody ever to feel that way. So I'm a very, very big person about suicide awareness. So I just don't ever want anybody. Don't ever want anybody. So somewhere in this, hopefully it helps someone. So
Yes.
Thanks for letting me do this. It's been
Yeah.
fun.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions, quick?
I do.
Okay.
Melisa, when you were talking about covering up your third eye at night,
Yeah.
I have these little thoughts that get stuck and go over and over and over. So I'm going to try that tonight. Are there oils that go with that you have found there?
I always use Balance at night. Balance is like my favorite. Anything that's grounding. Vetiver Console is another one I like. I really like a line too. Just anything that can make me feel grounded. I'll usually put it on my pillow. I'll miss my pillow. I'll put it on my feet. I put it wherever I can smell it, and I'll put it on the palm of my hand and put it on my forehead. Just because that's what I need to do with who I am uh, on a spiritual, because I am clairvoyant. So to shut a lot of things off, I do have to cover my forehead, not to just stop my thinking, but to put my boundaries up for other stuff. So when my hand goes over my forehead, that means I'm done. So you can put balance, pick the oils. The best thing I can say for that is pick something that you really, really like. Your favorite blend, something that just brings you centered. It brings you grounded. It just makes you happy. Whatever that blend or single oil it is, put it on your feet, spray your pillow, spray your cheeks, diffuse it, put it on your forehead. It may seem excessive, but that's where you're going to find your most peace. The only one that I don't use at night, besides, I don't use the Serenity oil at night. I only take Serenity Complex because I do have PTSD. And so somewhere in there, it releases too many emotions for me at once. So I have to be, if they really help affect the limbic system, I have to pick things that are not maybe so evasive, because then it releases too much for me and I can't process it. I'm getting better at it now, but in the beginning I couldn't do that. So just pick things that are just calming and centering and grounding, that make you want to go to sleep, or that just bring you peace. And then put it on your forehead, and then just put your hand over. If you can't use your hand, use like a towel, a blanket, your pillow, something just to put over right here. Because our third eye is our communication to everything. You have your crown, that's connection to God and your higher self. But your third eye kind of connects you to animals. It connects you to other people. It connects you to your thought. That's where your thoughts remain. So by covering that up, that's kind of like my boundary. It's the off switch, we're done. So that's what I would tell you to do.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else have any questions?
Hey, Melissa, what have you found for grief?
Forgive.
Have you forgive?
So Corinne told me about Cypress and a few others. I've been to a lot of funerals in the last 20 years, like 50 plus people of close friends and family, people that I've just known my whole life. And so Cypress was nice for me, but Forgive, when they came out with Forgive, I was finally able to let a lot of that go. But anything that, I'm a big grounding, centering type person. I like the grounding and centering oils, florals, like a little bit of like vetiver with ylang ylang, or lavender, or even Roman chamomile, sandalwood. Those are some that I really like, that just kind of bring a calmness to me. But internally, it would be frankincense was probably the biggest thing. But I know that Corinne told me about cypress, and I like it, but I like it blended with something that's a little more floral. And just learning, you go through like a bunch of different, you go through anger, upset, rage, sadness, crying. The thing is to let it all go through all of the stages. Just don't get stuck. I kind of look at our brains like this, and this is kind of like trigger. It's like a computer. You put in all this information into the computer, and then it comes down with it, but it, like, all these little components don't pop out. It's just part of how the computer runs. And then you get this virus, and it goes into the computer, and then everything starts popping up, and then you don't know where it came from. Like, what is this? That is how our brains work with grief, trauma, or anything like that. So anything that you can kind of help calm and work through those emotions is a good way to grieve. But forgiveness, because sometimes we blame ourselves or we blame the other person. So forgiveness and the forgive oil, or something that makes you smell and helps you see forgiveness, would be something that I would choose. But you kind of have to go through that computer program and put everything back, if that makes sense. Did that help you?
Yes, thank you.
That helped me. That was a great analogy. I liked that.
It's the junk drawer. You keep stuffing stuff in the junk drawer and things keep popping out. But I like the computer better. So.
Awesome.
Perfect.
What about turmeric and magnolia?
I love magnolia. I'm in love with magnolia, but they called it Japanese orchid, and I love orchids. So that's been a new one for me. And turmeric, it reminds me of a burnt house, but I really, really love it. I've been taking the yarrow pom and the turmeric two times in the morning and then 2 times at night, along with the DDR prime and the LLV. So I kind of changed from just the frankincense and black pepper. I've actually moved to these since they came out from convention, and I really, 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 really like them a lot. I can actually focus a little better because I'm kind of like a little kid that's on ADHD. I can get like 1,000 projects all over the house and nothing ever gets done. So focus. I have to talk to myself like a child and say, okay, this is what we're doing today. We're going to put this away. And turmeric and that have seemed to kind of, adding them have actually really helped me. So I don't know. I think it's because, and copaiba. I use copaiba. Copaiba was like a lifesaver. So those that work with the CBD, interact with CBD1, but work with CBD2, totally, those would be 2 that I would definitely recommend. So, but I love magnolia.
Awesome. Alrighty. So we are going to move on to the recording, or to the giveaway. Geez, you can stop the recording if you want, Kenzie.